Yo, this is like a good ass script. Like usually, not usually. Sometimes I'll see the script and I'll be like, damn, this kind of ass. But like, this is a good ass script. Like, this is gonna be like a legit, insightful video. So listen to it. Or, well, oh, shit, I don't know. Listen to this guy though, Nicholas F. He's a good rapper. Um, no more wall of text. Now we have wall of picture. Let's see. Wait. I mean, come on. Okay. What was I saying? Tua Tagovailoa. He was 25th in quarterback rushing yards last year. I know he only played like 10 games, but still, he was 25th in quarterback rushing yards. Here is the definitive chart of why rushing is good for quarterbacks, right? Lamar Jackson was the QB1 in terms of rushing yards and the QB10 in fantasy. Kyler Murray was the QB2 in terms of rushing yards, the QB1 in fantasy. Russell Wilson was the QB3 in terms of rushing yards, and QB5 in terms of fantasy. Deshaun Watson was the QB4 in terms of rushing yards, and the QB6 in terms of fantasy. Then we have Cam Newton and Daniel Jones at QB5 and 6 of rushing yards, and they were not great fantasy quarterbacks. However, we have Josh Allen as the 7th best rushing quarterback in terms of yards, and the 2nd best QB, okay? The top 5, or no, 3 of the top 6, 3? Wait, was it? 3 of the top, 4 of the top 6 quarterbacks in terms of fantasy points were also top 7 in terms of rushing yards, okay? And guys like Cam Newton and Daniel Jones were absolutely atrocious passers and were still able to be streamable. And Lamar Jackson was an awful, awful passer, but was still a QB1 in fantasy because of his rushing yards, okay? Um, so if Tua doesn't run, his range of outcomes for victory in fantasy gets a lot smaller. And with his hip, I don't know if he runs much more. Okay, but there's saving grace because he got Will Fuller and Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki and Jalen Waddle and lots of weapons, right? And Miles Gaskin. But Tua's PFF grade was 31st last year among quarterbacks. So he's not exactly melting faces as a passer. I just shout out Matt Kelly. um, he's not he's not exactly killing it in the passing game. He's really not. You are entirely projecting him to make a big leap in terms of rushing and passing if you want him to be a successful fantasy quarterback. And even then, he has a long way. Miami's win total is 9.5 wins right now, which means they're not going to be behind a lot. He's going to be throwing, and he might play more of a game manager type. So I just think, and this is probably an unpopular opinion because people seem to be on the Tua hype train, and I was the Tua number 2 pick last year, or no, 2 years ago. Like I was on the hype train, so like I'm not trying to be a hater. I might be hating, but like I'm not trying to be a hater. But yeah, I don't see the appeal for Tua. He needs to make big steps forward in rushing or passing, and even if he does both, he still might not be there because he needs to be elite at one of these things to be a great fantasy quarterback, a difference maker. I mean, in Superflex, maybe you can go for him, but like in single QB, the upside isn't there. I mean, you want Jalen Hurts, you want fucking even Daniel Jones, maybe. I mean, you want guys that have the upside of rushing over him. So yeah, go ahead and don't draft Tua, and go ahead and listen to Nicholas F. He's a really good rapper, guys.